Oh, hang on, everybody. We just went live, but we're trying to make sure Megan is here. It says 6 people are here. It says Megan's here, but she can't
I
get
just
on
added her
here.
as a host. So she should be able to, if you go back, I don't know if she'll see it. She might have to go out and then come back
Megan,
in
you were
as a
invited
host.
as a host. I don't know if you have to like
Because
accept.
you won't be able to see her unless she comes in as a host.
What does that mean?
Because it's a live stream and not a room, only the hosts will be on the screen.
I know, but if you invite her, can she come on?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if she has to go out and then come back in since she was already in when I added her.
It says it sent you an in-app. There we go. Okay. Perfect. All right, tech stuff, guys. This is tech stuff. And I just want to let you know that I'm dropping in the chat right now an invite link as a precautionary um, measure because we're still learning about Circle and there is some live streaming limits that we're learning about that we didn't understand quite right at the beginning. So here is this link and I can repost it later. Heather, no, we can't. When it's a live stream like this, we can't see anyone except the hosts that are invited. So
Can
this is an interview style instead of a room. So we can't see or hear you, Heather McCafferty. So you're good.
Robin, could you
Yeah,
put it in the comments outside, like when people go to the live stream, can you put the Zoom link in that space outside so that
yeah, if that happens, we will.
okay.
All right. So this morning, my name is Robin Whitworth, by the way. I can see that we have lots of people getting on. This is really exciting. And I'm the CEO of the Elevator Mother brand. we elevate her up, Elevated Mother brand, and we have been doing some kind of sub programs as we've been running this program for several years. We've discovered and knew kind of going into it that we had some sub niches, right? We have these moms that are high achieving, they hold themselves to high standards. We've got perfectionism issues. We've got lots of different avenues of a way of finding these mothers that find themselves stuck in cycles and all this stuff. And I will tell you that if you're finding yourself in our space, this is you. Not every mother can come in here and benefit. They won't feel like they relate to our stories. They won't feel like they relate to our content. If you're here, finding yourself here, you're a high achieving person. You have high dreams for yourself. You have high self expectations. Say hi in the chat and just know that we're all the same. We get you. We truly get you. And one of the other things that I heard from another mentor that I have adopted and I love so much is realizing that if you're here, like you're on this live stream, you have chosen to invite yourself into our space. We didn't have to reach out and pull you and bribe you, right? You chose to share space with us. So realize that on your end. Be aware that you chose this space. And we on this end are fully aware. We are fully aware that you're choosing to share space with us. And we do not discount that. It is an honor that you're choosing to share space with us today. I love seeing all the good mornings. So good to see you all here today. So as we started coaching along and seeing who's choosing our space, we saw that there was a sub niche of women entrepreneurs. These women that are like, I really want to contribute something that's just from me. I would love to create a business. I have a side hustle. I'm doing this thing. Or they're the main breadwinner and they're an entrepreneur or whatever it was. So we did a program in the spring that was Elevated Mother Business. And those of us that are on the business end of the Elevated Mother brand, we taught that class. It was incredible. We're still tweaking and learning and different stuff before we relaunch it. And then the other subgroup was basically all of us in one way or another, but we wanted to really sub down and say, what's going on in the house? The environment that the mother is in matters. Can we all just get an amen on a Friday? Like, and if you're working from home, if you got kids running out of your home, like the home space matters. How does it feel? How do you feel as the mom in this space? And we started seeing when people come into our space, a lot of times we've asked them, why are you here? What do you hope to gain? What do you hope to take? What do you hope to give? We saw a trend. We saw a big trend of people that said, I need to be a better mom. I feel like I'm failing at home. These are direct phrases from our customer acquisition forms. I'm not a good mom for my children. I want to get closer to Christ to be a better mother. I need better organization in my home. It feels like chaos every day and I can't live in this space. I feel like I'm falling apart and I can't hold my house together. Help. These are the kind of messages we are seeing over and over and over. And we sat as a team and we said, what can we do about this? Because our main flagship program, the Elevated Mother Experience, hands down, best decision you'll ever make if you choose to do that. But we also said, there is such a niche here in the perspectives and the mindset of the home. How can we serve that specifically where we have our flagship program and it helps the home, but not everybody feels so central to parenting and their marriage relationship and their relationship and connection with their children? That was seen to be a very particular niche. About a third of our clients, a third of our, open group, all of you that are here. And so we thought, let's do another sub program. And here we are. And in the Elevated Mother brand, we like to do things really well. So we like to do a beta testing group where we see how it flies. We see if the information is pertinent and we are willing to change it along the way. So we bring in these beta testers and they're willing to sit with us. And we say, this is what we think. This is what we found. This is what we can give our best at. Tell us what you think. How are you being served? Give us feedback. Give us your testimonial. Tell us what you'd like to see more of, what you'd like to see less of. We value feedback like nobody's business. So this beta program, we need you. For the future of all people that do this program, we need you to come in and be willing to sit with us as we change and grow and learn, targeting and serving you in this space. Two of the people, beautiful souls that have been like, I feel so passionate about this. Megan and Heather were the moms that said things like this before they went through our programs. I don't connect with my kids. My house is chaos. There's too much yelling. Yes, ladies? Megan's like, you're calling me out. Right? This is, right? These ladies know you. They know you so well in your heart and in your soul. And we wanted to bring them on today and ask them, what was it like? So that you guys can know they relate. They know this. They know this feeling of feeling like you're not the mom for your kids. They know that feeling. So I'm going to ask them some questions about that experience and about the experience of learning what they've learned through the EMX, but what they're bringing to EMH specifically, what they personally are going to bring. They're not going to talk about everything they're going to teach in the class, but this is how I felt. This was a piece that I now know. And you will start to feel the essence of this program and how it's going to change your life. And if you want to be considered for our beta program, just put it in the chat. Looks like Kristen Warren's like, hey, I want to be a tester. And I'll talk more about the details of that at the very end, what it looks like, what the requirements, time-wise, investments, all the different stuff that you'll do as a beta tester. Heather and Megan, do you have anything that you want to say before I ask questions? Something that you're like, I wanted to share, anything? I'm open to how this goes.
I do have thoughts. Man, my heart is racing. I have been thinking of all you ladies all morning. I just prayed this morning that I would be able to say whatever needed to be said. I get emotional, and so I just hope you guys can feel what I am trying to feel, help you guys see and feel for this program. I'm so excited for it. I just want to thank you guys, any of you who are willing to invite us into your space. You know, it's a vulnerable thing to let people know you're struggling, or to say, hey, I want to change this. It's very vulnerable. And so I think I can speak for, I think, many of the coaches that we just felt honored for anyone who maybe comes on as a beta tester and allows us to just kind of witness you and all the healing and the changes that happen for you.
Can you guys just hear her heart? Megan is such a gift to this world. She is such a gift. And through this beta program, you will get to feel her every week and be able to glean from her spiritual gifts into your life. Anything from you, Heather, before we ask some specific questions?
I think, like Megan, I also, had a prayer in my heart all morning, just that my heart for this would come through, and that you guys would be able to feel how big this could be for you, and how big the things that we've learned and are now sharing in this capacity have been for us. And I'm so excited. I just want to share this little tiny background story. But 5 years ago, I got a brand new computer. And I was thinking at the time of like my little side hustle and what I was doing. And I made my password serve, love, support. And because that was what I wanted to do in that aspect. And I feel like this is the realization 4 years later of me doing that to my fullest capacity, because I've grown as a person through these programs and through the things that we've learned enough to really step into that place. And I'm so excited to be able to sit here and share and serve and love and support all of you in this capacity, but also as we move into the program in a couple weeks. So that's all I have. Let's get to the questions.
I know, they're like, I want to say stuff. I did extend the time of this on the link. I don't know if you guys saw that, because I was like, I don't want this to be rushed or anything. So I hope you guys had a full hour. No, but for real. Okay, so let's just start with Heather. Tell us, and I know you're willing to be completely vulnerable, because in the EMX space, we learn that vulnerability is power. Where were you? What was that feeling where you were like, tell us what it was like, because these women that are looking at this program, they think they're an anomaly, but they're alone. And maybe you felt that too. Tell us about that. The moment when you were like, I am ready to change something.
Yeah. So for me, I kind of went in waves through my personal development journey and personal growth. And I had a really low point when, after my third was born, I had no support, or very little support. I had family around, but everybody was busy. My husband was working all the time. I was a stay-at-home mom of 3 littles. And I found a fitness community to be a part of, and that kind of lifted my spirits. And I felt like I was part of something, and I got healthy, and it was awesome. But then I just felt like there was more, and that once I fell off that fitness track, that I lost a lot of that. And so when COVID happened and everything was different, I had 4 kids. I had 4 kids at home, and I homeschooled all of them because my grandma was living with us. And I was just overwhelmed, overstimulated, over everything. And I was crying all the time, just crying because I felt like I wasn't good enough. Like I was messing up my kids, like I was messing up our home. My husband wasn't happy. The house was never clean. Like, and I just didn't have it in me to do it all. And I made the decision to put my kids back in school the next year after my grandma had gotten her vaccines and all of everything felt like it was slowing down. And I decided to use that year or that time while they were in school and focus on myself and my health and my healing, because I didn't want to keep living like that. It was miserable. And my husband was like, do you need to go see a therapist? So I did about 3 or 4 months of therapy every other week. I would have an appointment and we would talk about things, and it helped a little bit. It helped me to like recognize how I was thinking in different things, but ultimately I felt like I was just going and complaining and nothing. I wasn't moving forward with anything. I was able to talk about it, which was helpful a little bit. But so then I got to the point where I had seen Robin and all the things that she was doing, and she just looked like she was living this life where she was happy. And at that point, all I wanted was to feel happy, to feel like I was enough, like my life wasn't falling apart. And I just needed something. I needed the accountability. I didn't even know what I needed, but I knew I needed to change, because growing up, all I wanted to be was a stay-at-home mom. All I wanted to be was a wife and a mom, and to have a home and to have kids and to do all the things that I thought I wanted to do. And now I was living the life that I dreamed of, and it didn't feel like a dream. And I felt confused and I felt hurt, and I didn't want to live in that anymore. I wanted to love being home with my kids. I wanted to love, this life that I was grateful for, but in my heart so overwhelmed by. And so that's kind of where I was when I stepped into the coaching space, and invested in my first program with Robin. Did that answer your question? I kind of lost track of exactly what you asked me.
No, it was beautiful. And I noticed in the comments, we have a beautiful woman named Nancy, and she's older. Her kids are older adults. And she says, am I a good fit for this? I don't know. And I just want to address that. Nancy, as you're watching this, do your best. She's in our EMX, so she's getting her mindset stuff all into her awareness. Be aware if you're trying to identify as a younger mother in the context these women are talking about versus the principle. So when she says, I felt like I was supposed to be living a dream and I wasn't, the principle there is, you see what's going on. All your choices have brought you to a point, and yet you're feeling tired, lack of fulfillment, lack of like, what is even going on here, right? This is what Heather's talking about. And so whether you're 30 or 60, or your kids are 2 or 45, this is a feeling many mothers and women feel. It's not an age-limited experience. I'm not trying to make a square fit into a round hole, because there are women that are more seasoned in life and they have figured out, or they have a perspective that they don't struggle with this thing. You wouldn't be a good fit for the program at that place. But if you're like, oh, I actually relate with that principle and that principle, and that principle, you may not have the same context, but the feeling. So throughout this week and next week, see if you are, no matter where you ladies are. Nancy asked the question. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you. Guys, ask all the questions. It helps us see who's thinking about stuff so that we can address these questions really well. So as you guys are watching these next few weeks, think about the principle we're talking about, not necessarily relating exactly with all the context, but the feeling and what that is and kind of liken it unto your own lives. I hope that that's helpful. Megan, tell us kind of where you've been, and when I read those statements, you're like, oh, I know that. How do you know that? What was happening for you?
So I relate a lot with Heather. There's a lot of things in there that I'm like, yep, I was on a health journey. I've done a lot of things in the past. And I feel like a lot of things that I was doing, I was like seeking external things. It was like, oh, once I get this house, once I have this amount of money, I'll be happy. Like that was what was going to solve things for me. And so my husband and I, we've lived, I've moved 11 times in 14 years of being married. I lived in a house that was built in 1899 and was a 1 bathroom, 3 bedroom with 7 people. I did that for with 7 people, it was like 2 years, like a year, but I lived there for like 5 years with my other kids and my husband. So not ideal. And all of my homes were unfinished. We've bought 3 homes, and this last one is a finished home. So we were way more intentional with this home. So I would say, there's a lot of backstory. I'm not going to go into detail there, but I was at one point in my life, I was so low, and I just feel inspired to share this because no matter where you're at, I just want you to know that there's hope. Hope's not lost, and that every soul matters to God. Every soul. It doesn't matter what kind of a mom you've been or a wife or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, you matter to God, and your worth doesn't change. And that's something that I have definitely learned throughout going through the Amex. But I got to a pretty dark place where the anxiety and depression that I dealt with since I was like 14 was just all consuming. So as a mom of 4 and 5 that had postpartum depression and anxiety, and just dealt with a lot of mental illness things, I was confused, just like Heather. I was like, I thought that once you get married and have kids, like, it's beautiful. Like, where's the beauty in this? And I was so angry. I was resentful. I just wanted to run away. I was confused though, because it's like, here I have what I thought I wanted. And then I got to a place where I'm like, oh, I don't want this anymore. So about a year ago is kind of when I chose back in, and I'm like, something has to change, like, big time, because I had kind of changed over time, and then I would kind of fall back deep into that deep depression, consuming, and I just thought, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to get this low ever again. So last year was like a big point in my life where I made the decision that I am doing something to change, period.
That's so beautiful. Ladies, we sometimes get shocking people like, I can't believe how vulnerable. That feels scary to share such vulnerable, right? As Christians, we come from a lot of different churches, but they all typically preach one version or another of being Christ-like. And sometimes we forget that that's Christ-like. We are not to be Christ. That was his job. And we become self-sacrificing mothers that put ourselves on the back burner, and we somehow set ourselves up as being a martyr like Jesus for our kids and our husband and everyone else. And Jesus never asked us to do that. And that's in our free, those of you that are watching, if you want more information on this, we have a free course that will walk you through those ideas. If you're like, oh, I kind of maybe want to learn about that, but I don't know if I want to talk to someone about it yet. Go watch the free course, and then reach out to, one of the leadership, which is Heather Shoemaker, Heather Heward, Megan Heward, myself, Christy Garcia, Missy Reber, and Cherie Carlisle. Reach out to any of those people, message them here, tag them, They will be able to share anything and everything. So ladies, the next question I want to ask you is, when you get to that point, most women in our space, they are in a space where they are aware, like they're like, I feel heavy, I feel dark, I feel like I'm confused, I feel I should be something different. Like there's this shame that's going on. I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't feel bad about resenting my baby and joking about return to sender when they've cried all night. And these are very real things that are happening. And maybe even in, Nancy's situations, like, oh, when the adult kids call and I've had an afternoon to myself, I just want to say no. And how do I do that? It's the principle, right? So tell us a little bit about when you got to that moment of awareness and we heard your beautiful stories. Where did it come from? How did you choose different? Because that's a place a lot of our moms get to, but then they go, I don't know if I can. That feels big. It feels scary. Do I talk to my husband about it? What if there's an investment? I mean, and then we pile on this backpack that feels, again, it feels really heavy. So then we're like, well, that feels scary. Maybe my discomfort is less than I think it is, and I'll just settle for it because changing everything feels really big. Talk about that moment. How did you get to the point of choosing something different? Because that is a courageous challenge. I don't know who wants to go first. Maybe stick with a Heather Megan situation. Okay, Heather, you get to go first.
Okay, I'll go. I think for me, I had been slowly investing in myself over time. I started with my physical health. And then when I started therapy, that was an investment because my insurance didn't cover the therapist that I was using. I think I slowly built that up over time. But I also just knew, like I think in my heart, I just knew that this was what I needed, and what I wanted moving forward. And so when you popped up I'm being full transparency. When you popped up asking for beta testers, I was all in because I was like, I am getting in now while it's half the price and I don't have to do all this stuff because I couldn't. At that point, I couldn't have invested fully in myself. But I knew I needed it and I knew I wanted it and I did. And that's where we started.
Beautiful. There's usually a bridge of trust there. Was there one specific thing you heard me say, do, whatever, that you felt like the investment was good, if you will? Or you know what I mean? That your time would be well served. Was there something specific?
I can't think of one specific thing. I do know that like we've been friends for a long time. And so I've seen your posts and I've seen like worked with you in other capacities and like your story, like I wanted that for myself. I knew that I wanted my life to feel how you were sharing that yours felt for you. And I wanted to be able to work through issues with my kids and be able to have conversations with my husband without the contention, without the things. And I was just like, you know what? Like, I need my life to feel like this. And if she can do it for herself, she can show me how. And I think that was the trust that I needed, was just seeing, yes, I know that these things have shifted for her and I know she can show me how to do it too. And you have, of course.
That's beautiful. That's so beautiful. And I know that there likely was some vulnerability. I probably shared some story about my husband or other, and I want you all to know that when I do share stories, it is with my husband's like agreement. I don't share stuff just because, and he's like, oh, just in case anyone, I've had people say, I'm shocked. Like, how does your husband feel about that? And I'm like, guys, I promise This is not a breach of agreement in my marriage in any way, shape, or form. If I tell a story about, as my kids have gotten older, I ask them, can I share this story in my online thing? Can I post this picture of you? And I think that's really important. Megan, tell us a little bit about that journey for you, that moment of decision of investing, and what that journey looked like, because it can be so hard.
Yeah, I mean, I had invested in myself before, and I think back to like the first time I invested in myself, like maybe this is the first time for many women that maybe they haven't done something in the past. But I think just taking that step and kind of getting curious with that and trying that on, if you will, sometimes that's all you need to just shift your life in the way that you're wanting, you know. But for me this time around, when I chose into EMX, I met Missy Reber through a fitness through Beachbody. We worked together, and so I knew her before EMX, but I just remember there was like this shift in her when she joined EMX, because she joined a little bit before me. I want to say it was like 6 months or a year before me. I can't remember. But I just started seeing like a shift in her messages, like when she was sharing on her Instagram and her Facebook. I'm just like, there is just like this light about her. Like I've known her, and she was really like, she was full of energy and like things with Beachbody and stuff. So I was just like, what is like changed about her? Like I was just intrigued with like what had shifted. And I just feel like the way that she talked was very different and stuff. And I was so intrigued with this because I had, again, like I said, I had been trying to seek for, if you will, like this happiness, right, outside of myself. And she just seemed so like content and happy with herself. Like, even though I was like, it's not like they made a big move, it's not like something super big changed in her day to day, it seemed. And when I did reach out and talk to her, yeah, it was just, she was kind of doing the same thing. Like, other than she had invested in herself and had decided to just make some shifts in mindset and follow the framework, you know, of the program that you created, which, I mean, you're inspired. I just want to say that right now. Like, the things that you have brought about have like changed so many women's lives, and I feel honored to be a part of continuing this. And the thing that I've loved about this is the collectiveness too. It's not just like that there's Robin, right? And then we're all just like nobodies. It's like, no, we all matter in this space. And that's something that I have loved. But for me, something that Missy said that was really intriguing to me is she talked about being a high achieving woman alongside motherhood. And I've never been able to succeed in that. Like, I've always wanted that. I've always had a side gig or something, and I just always fell short. I like never was successful with that at all. And it's so interesting that that was like kind of a phrase that I was just like, okay, I think I can have both of these affirmations. They can exist in the same space. And so that was a big thing for me, is realizing like it doesn't have to be either or, it can be and so that was huge. And another thing she said was just that that there's women here that carry you. There's women here that support and want you to heal and grow and change. And so you have that amazing support that many of us are seeking.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Those of you that are watching, if you relate, feel free to put emojis, put more questions in the chat. One of the things that a lot of high achieving women tend to do is they live their life by a checklist, whether set up by their mother, their university advisor, some book they read about having an amazing life. Churches have certain paths of happiness. There's lots of different ways that we create some type of that. What would it be called? Like your standard, this standard of living, this way that I'm going to be. And as you ladies beautifully explained, there was a point where you're like, dude, I checked all the boxes of happiness. What happened? Do I just suck? My husband's not as good as someone else's husband. Our money situation should be drastically different. My kids, how come my kids complain? No one else's kids complain like my kids. How come my house can't stay clean like someone else's house? What is wrong with me? And even women that will come into this beta test, they will want, we discussed this in our brainstorm. They're going to want to look ahead. They're going to want to see all the things we're going to teach. They're going to want to know, because unfortunately, I'm going to use that word. They have learned that if they don't feel like they'll succeed, they don't even want to try. Why is that, ladies? What is that? And how are we going to help them to succeed in this program when they may have not succeeded in big projects or personal things before? What are we going to do that's different? Because they're going to come in and want to see all the things. Tell us about that. How have you ladies released your check boxes of a standard of living? Was that hard? How are you? What's the principle that's different here in our EMH program?
You good if I go, Heather? Okay. So I love this question because it's so real. Like I still catch myself checking the boxes. But something that I have learned too is I had when I was in the program, let's see, I've been in the program for like 8 months or so. And when I kind of considered coming on as like a coach, I didn't really feel like I was coach material, if you will. So anyway, I was kind of challenged to kind of seek that out. But I've kind of been encouraged to find like my zone of genius, and something that I am so passionate about and something that I'm excited to bring to the EMH personally. I mean, all the coaches have beautiful things that they're adding to this space. But I'm super excited for like helping with like strengths, like helping you see what you are doing well, and just kind of helping you with maybe some clarity of like, how well are you doing, and kind of helping you get out of that, if you will, like the blinders mode, like kind of being able to look out more and saying, what am I doing right? And just the words that we're using. That's another thing. Like, I love affirmations. I love that the language that we are using, guys, like it matters. And it's so interesting because, like I said, I've done things for years and years and years, and I hated affirmations like a year ago. Like, I was like, I will never say another affirmation again, because I felt betrayed by my affirmations, because I'm like, they don't work anymore, you know? And throughout this program, the EMX, I learned how to just like get creative and like change the wording and help my brain believe it, because our brains are really smart and they want to look for all the negative to protect us, and they want to question a lot of things. So I mean, it's a beautiful thing, but I'm here to just empower you and help you with maybe just being aware of how you're already doing things, and helping you with seeing your strengths and being able to utilize those strengths. Like, maybe those are strengths that you're not actually using right now. And something that I'm learning, that we have like top strengths. As we use our top strengths, it actually can help to energize us. It can help to get us out of those dark places, because when we're not living true to us, when we're not feeling seen, when we're not seeing ourselves, we get into that numbing and that despair and that kind of feeling like we're worthless or life doesn't matter, right? So that's something that I'm hoping to help, is just bring out that light and help you see like your strengths, so that you can start utilizing those, and the ripple effect that we talk about with starts with you and ripples into all areas of your life.
Thanks for that, Megan. So good. Heather, what are your thoughts on, these women that want to see all the things to make sure before they think they can do this or that it will be beneficial?
Oh my goodness. You know me. You know the checklist was like, oh, I lived for that checklist. And if I didn't get everything done on it, the guilt and the shame and the power that checklist had over my life, oh my goodness. I'm so glad I've worked through that. But I think it's very real. We have things that we think are expected of us, or that we choose to believe are expected of us. And I think sometimes we want to know what's expected of us, and that's a good thing to do. But I also think that when we put everything on a checklist and take everything so literally, it negates faith. It negates allowing yourself to trust in the possibilities, and that things could be even more than what your checklist is giving you. And I think that something that this program is going to help these ladies do is they're going to see that. We're going to start really simple. We're going to say, where are you? What is your current situation? And what do you want your situation to be? How do you want it to be different? We're going to ask some really thought-provoking questions, and we're going to help you get deep. We're going to help you see that it's possible for you to move from here to here. But we're also going to teach you line upon line. And we're going to show you that it's step by step, little by little. You don't have to overwhelm yourself with the whole picture. You don't have to worry about what you have to do the next week. We don't have to worry about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, the rest of the program, and make sure you're doing everything you need to do. We're going to teach you to live by faith. We're going to teach you that you can focus and be present. That's another really big thing, is when we're worried about the checklist, when we're worried about the future, we're worried about all the things, we're not giving our present our all, and we're not being the best person we can be right now, because we're in that anxiety mode. We're in that focus on the future and focus on all the things that we have to do, instead of really just living within ourselves and giving ourselves the opportunity to find the joy and the peace and all those things that we want now, to allow ourselves to feel those things no matter what the circumstances are, because it's possible. And I think that our way of forcing you to drop the checklist is by giving you each week, week by week, so that you don't have to worry about it. You can focus, and you can learn to trust yourself and to have faith in yourself and faith, and learn to let go of some of the beliefs that you've held on to, and especially being that it's not all on you. You don't have to do everything. You are supported, and we're going to help you find that support. And I'm just really excited. It's going to be beautiful.
Mic drop. You guys see why Heather and Megan were the obvious choices to bring in to lead these women, because the pieces we teach were huge parts of their personal journey. They are like the very real thing. These principles we teach are like the personal, like big journey, the cross, if you will, that Jesus asked us to take up and carry. They picked it up. They said, this feeling of stressed and not being good, and this isn't working for me. I am willing to take up this cross and figure it out. And guess what's so special about these women? And I get emotional because in the Elevated Mother Experience, we let it flow. They're willing to help carry yours. Those of you that come into this beta tester program are going to have some of the most beautiful souls that understand this burden, help support you in yours. That's pretty special. And that's why I say that's a coach's heart. A lot of people are willing to take up their cross, and they tell people the story, and that inspires people. There's a special spiritual gift in someone that says, you know what? I'm willing to walk that path again and again and again, because they know they can, and they know that God will help you both. But it's a really special gift to get to work with these women in this capacity. And so as we close up this call, I really would love for all of you considering the beta testing opportunity to get in connection with your soul and your spirit as more of the guide if this is good for you versus what's the 8 modules and how's it going to be and what's this thing and how's the price, blah, blah, to really look into your soul and say, is this what is going to help me? Whatever these women share, whatever it is, because of the spirit that is confirming to me, as Jesus says, the spirit is the confer of truth. So if something is true for you, it may not be true for someone else. And our connection to the spirit helps us have more of those experiences. What these women talked about today, when they got to that low moment, they looked to their soul. As Heather beautifully said, she's like, I just knew it in my heart. And it was scary and it was hard, but I just knew it. As Megan said, she's like, when I think about this kind of stuff, it makes my heart pound. She's having a physical experience with her soul being so connected to the spirit. So as you're considering this opportunity, look more on the inside of what you're feeling here and the idea that you can untether from, but my money, but my husband, but my time. If this is for you, I can testify, and these ladies can testify, you'll have those things on the perimeter of your mind, but ultimately you will still succeed. You will. You'll still grow. You'll progress. Because God never doesn't support his children. It's Satan that leaves people on the sidelines. He says, oh, this would be so great, but if you don't do it perfect, you're out. In the Elevated Mother, you will find we parallel how we teach with Jesus Christ. We don't set things like, if you don't come to 2 of the calls, you're out. We know you're real humans and that you're moms and you've got lives that you have to prioritize. Yes, of course, if you come to lots of calls and all these things, you're going to have information. However, we've seen people go through our programs where they showed up to everything and had an incredible transformation. And we've seen people that showed up for 2, 3 things and had an incredible transformation. That's what they needed, and that's what they needed. We don't judge how you're going to show up. You might show up with a kid on your lap. You might show up on your way to work. You might show up whatever. Doesn't matter to us. It doesn't matter. So any last thoughts from Heather and Megan before we wrap up?
I've got something. This is such a tender thing for my heart. Like, I look back to the mom that was bedridden a year ago and that had no hope and really didn't have any friends and had an awful relationship with everyone. I shut everyone out of my life. And as I worked through with inspired women and women that were willing, like Robin says, to walk the path with me over and over and over again, they were able to just help me with whatever I needed, to sit with me, to hold my heart at one point, to walk me through things, to just help. But as you come into this, you're the one doing the heavy lifting, if we will. Like, you're the one doing the work, but we're here to support and help you. We want you to shift out of the story that you're currently telling yourself. We want you to know that you have a choice in how you feel in your home, the connections you have with people. Those things can change. And so I'm grateful that I took a chance on these ladies, if you will. It's been beautiful. And I have some lifelong friends that I'm so grateful for.
Love you, Megan Heward. Love you. Any thoughts, Heather?
Yeah, I think for me, like, one of the biggest parts of my own journey was leaning into my own agency and leaning into recognizing that I can make these choices for myself, that I can set goals for myself and have a vision for my life, and that I'm supported in that, not only by the women here, but also by my Savior and by my Heavenly Father, and that I can have that support with me all the time. And there were goals and dreams and things that I have seen come to fruition in my life in the last 2 years that I had been dreaming about and felt so far from and impossible for the last 10. And that was all through learning these principles and these processes. And one of the biggest parts of my transformation and my own growth has been in my home. As we've been talking about this, I've been telling everyone, where do you spend as a mom most of your time? Why not create the feeling and the environment and the space and the love and all of those things that you want, that you're going to sit there? You're going to live in that house. You're going to love in that house. You're going to raise your kids in that house and in that home. Make your house a home. And it starts with you. And I'm so excited to be able to share these things and all the things that we've learned and put together for you guys. And it starts with you leaning into your agency and choosing, instead of why does it have to be me? Why does everything have to be on my shoulders? You get to choose, and you get to say, why not me? And be so excited that you're choosing this for yourself, because no one else can do it for you. And we're so excited to be here and to support you through that.
Thanks, Heather. So one of the things I wanted to point out here at the end is that a lot of people that I've been talking to, maybe you ladies as well, they're very concerned about the specifics. And what I've loved being able to tell them is we're not going to get super specific. Like when we're going to talk about parenting, it's not going to be, here's this booklet of how you spank correctly. I don't believe in spanking, but do you know what I mean? Like, we're not going to be like, okay, when you load your dishwasher, cups go on top. I mean, it's not going to be anything like that. It's going to be principle-based mindset. How do you think about this from a personal empowerment space? We're going to be talking about the mindset pieces behind that. When Megan talks about connection with her kids, she's not going to be like, okay, for the next 5 days, you have to spend 10 minutes with each kid and go on 7 vacations. Like, this is just not, I'm funny. I really can be funny. But, it's going to be the principle. It's going to be the principle of this is what connection feels like, whether your kid is 40 or 4. Why do we want that? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the mindsets and fears and different things that keep us from that. How do we start with us and create that experience? So be aware that this will be a very principle-based program, not specifics that you can go to your local library and get a book about. Okay? This is the very real spiritual mindset work that we'll be doing around all things home and the environment there and how you feel about what's going on there. So it's an 8-week, we've extended, say 10 weeks, because we know there's some holidays in there. It's going to go through October, November, probably part into December, just because Thanksgiving, Halloween, all the things. And we'll have 2 classes a week. One will be kind of, here's the concept, here's the principles, here's the teaching. Then we'll have an open group discussion Q&A. We'll have some sprinkled in one-on-ones. Yes, we're offering one-on-ones in a beta program. This is so exciting. We will have a fun little graduation with a little gift. We'll have an online PDF book for you. We'll have a kickoff party October 3rd. So you'll want to be there. Block that out of your calendar right now if you have an intention to be there. We want to do that. This is for women that want to work on their home environment. Doesn't matter if you're married, unmarried. Doesn't even really matter if you have kids or not. I don't want to even put that block there. But it is women-based. It's going to be for those women that are feeling these kinds of things. I'm stuck. I'm not enough. I want my house to feel different. I want to feel my agency all within your home. How does this feel? If you're feeling chaos, you're feeling like there's no calm, there's no peace, there's no happiness, then get into this program. You are who we want to test this program. We need you. We need you. You can do 2 payments You can do September 20th and October 4th at $750, or whenever you make your first payment, that next payment will be 2 weeks after. So if you paid today, then you'll have, 2 weeks later to pay the next payment, or you can pay in full anytime before September 20th. And as a little added incentive, those of you that are on, if you sign up and you pay in full in the next, what's today? September 6th. In the next 6 days, by September 12th, we are going to throw in an extra hour-long one-on-one that you will get to have to really lay out what's going on. That's a $400 to $600 investment. Like, this is a big deal to be able to have one of our coaches come on for a full hour and work with you so that when you dive into this program, you're going to be like there. And some of you might have spiritual trauma blocks, different things like that. We have an in-house trauma healer that you can choose for that one-on-one. You can choose from any of us to do that one-on-one. If you have money blocks, I'm the one for that. I am fantastic with money mindset and money beliefs. We've got Missy, who is fantastic with marriage and relationships. If you're afraid your husband won't support this, if you're afraid of something your spouse might do or won't do while you're doing this program, talk to Missy. And of course, we've got Heather, Megan, and Christy, right? And Christy's really, really good about boundaries, about identity things. If you're like, well, I don't identify as somebody that can do this. This feels so outside my realm. You'll want to have a call with Christy, right? Heather and Megan, experts in the program, all things home feelings, get with them. If you're just like, I just need to know more. I know you said to not forget the checklist, but I just, they will be excellent to get on a phone call, get on a little Facebook chat, send them a message, all the things. So little incentive for you to get in, pay in full, and have that 1 hour one-on-one to just smooth things through. It's going to be fantastic to begin your transformation. So if you're ready, drop ready in the chat. We'll be with you. Connect with any of the coaches, tag them, all the things. All right, ladies, we'll see you next week. We'll have me and Missy on doing a similar format, talking more about some other aspects of the program, and we'll see you guys then. Thanks, Heather and Megan.